Alrighty guys, we're back for some Is It Dragons, and this is a Baldur's Gate Alchemy brew, but don't worry, Standard's not going anywhere. I mentioned it in my last couple Alchemy videos that right now, these Alchemy videos are bonus videos, and honestly, the bonus videos have been doing pretty well, and so maybe I will end up making it so that way we get at least one Alchemy video in there a week, replacing one of the standard videos. But we'll see. I'll keep my eye on it because it does take a lot of extra time to actually make these bonus videos. But regardless, we got a lot to go over in the deck, so let's go ahead and do that. Also, guys, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat, and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. What do we got here? We got 4 Dragon's Fire, we got 4 Molten Impacts, 3 Expressive Iterations, 2 Galvanic Iterations, 2 Breath Weapons, 4 Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind, 4 Big Score, 1 Galazeth, 1 Iymrith Desert Doom. We got 4 Goldspan Dragons naturally. We got 2 Burn Down the House, 2 Kairi, the Swirling Sky. I think that's how you pronounce that. And we have 3 Sword Coast Serpents as well. Plenty of new cards to go over here, which I will in a second. In the mana base, we're rocking 2 Halls, a Soaring City, a Gate of Tumbledown, Crucible of Defiance, our dual land, which no snarls this time round, 2 Forsaken Crossroads, and 4 Temple of the Dragon Queens. I don't think we're going to have any issues with the mana base at all. That is 24 total land, so we do get a little bit of ramp off the Carnelian Orb, and whenever this mana is spent to cast a dragon creature, it gains haste. So there are going to be a ton of ways to close out the game fast with this deck because we have some seriously chunky dragons in here too. So Molten Impact deals 4 damage to creature or planeswalker. If excess damage was dealt this way, when you cast your next instant or sorcery, Molten Impact deals damage equal to the excess to target creature or planeswalker. This paired with Dragon's Fire, which is just going to be able to hit cards for 6 sometimes because of the Swirling Sky and the Sword Coast Serpent. It can hit 5 off the Desert Doom and 4 off of Goldspan. This card is going to be plugging in damage. Creatures don't stand a chance against this Dragon's Fire with the Molten Impact combo. Expressive Iteration is a no-brainer. It helps us find what we need, and so you might want to play 4 of these, honestly, and go down a Galvanic Iteration because there's not too much to do with the iteration except for plug this into more removal. But in the late game, dropping an iteration here with a Burn Down the House with some devils can help you close out the game. Also, Galvanic Iteration is going to work well with this Breath Weapon. For 3 mana, Breath Weapon deals 2 damage to each non-dragon creature. Now, I don't know how good this is actually going to be, but I do know one thing. If you do get this with the Galvanic Iteration, being able to wipe your opponent's side of the board while keeping your Goldspan Dragon open seems really, really powerful, doesn't it? Big Score was also just another no-brainer, especially with the Galazeth Prismari. There's plenty of instants and sorceries here to use off of these treasures, and then also with all the extra treasures, of course, Goldspan just makes it so, so powerful. Desert Doom is one of those one-ofs where it's definitely worth having in here because it can help you redraw your hand if you need to, but also the Ward 4 when it's untapped is really tough to get around. Ward 4 is essentially like hexproof at that point. I know it's not actually hexproof, but it makes spot removal very bad and very slow, and I love it. And then this just has Ward 3 in general. Even if you are swinging in with this, could you imagine giving this haste off of the Carnelian Orb? Like, are you kidding me? Is that not just really, really powerful? A flying 6/6 with Ward 3? And then if the opponent does find a way to kill it, so when it dies, you get to choose one of these, return any number of target non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands. Okay. Or you can mill 6 cards, then return up to 2 instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. This card is going to be amazing in here. You might even want 3 of these, but we'll see. We'll talk about that more in the final thoughts. As for the Sword Coast Serpent, now this is actually 7 mana, but you can play it as an instant for the adventure cost down there, so that is Capsizing Wave. So for 2 mana, instant speed, return target creature to its owner's hand. This is going to be perfect at removing early threats. And then what happens with the adventure is you may cast this card as an adventure. After you do, exile it. You may then cast the creature later from exile. So not only is this early removal, but it helps us close the game later on. And it's a 6/6, mind you. So even when it is in your hand and not in exile, then Dragon's Fire can hit for 6 just by revealing the Sword Coast Serpent. And then when you reveal this, now the opponent knows eventually we're going to go ahead and slow them down even more by returning a creature to their hand too. I don't know, man. I think this is actually a really good card. When it is the Serpent Dragon, when it does come down on the board, Sword Coast Serpent can't be blocked as long as you've cast a non-creature spell this turn. So like every turn with this deck, essentially. Is that not crazy cool? I think it's really good. Either way, guys, I don't have any honorable mentions this time round, but cards to consider is like Fearsome Whelp, the normal Orb of Dragonkind, stuff like that. Since we are dragons, I kind of opted for more of an Izzet control shell with dragons to close out the mid-game to late game. So it's close to a mid-range control build, and that's probably what I'll put it as when I drop it on Aether Hub as well. Either way, let's go ahead, hop into some normal play mode and see if this has what it takes, I guess. I think it's actually going to be pretty good, honestly, but we'll see. Well, we'll see if we can get right into the first match here. Just a few days ago, there were a ton of people playing Alchemy, which was awesome, actually. There we go. About 14 seconds. That's about how long it took for me to get into a standard game today. So, yeah, not bad. Not a bad hand either. Galazeth's... why is that hard to say? Prismari's power here kind of sucks with the Dragon's Fire, but that's okay. Yeah, it's fine. They got the fancy dragon. I'm rocking the blue dragon for this one. Agent of Rathine. Okay. Choose target opponent. Conjure a duplicate of the top card of their library into your hand. It perpetually gains. You may spend mana. Okay. Then exile the top card of their library face down. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Oh no. Because our cards are so good. I wonder if I should kill it. I'm going to kill it like this turn with our sorcery speed. And we have 2 left over from the Molten Impact too, so. I hope we draw a land. Oh no. I kept a Mind Spike. It's like all my cards. Burn down the house is what they take. That's probably going to be a good grab for them, huh? If they didn't care about the other 2 it was a lot of removal in hand. That makes sense, but they know that they probably, I don't know. Let me read that again. Non-creature, non-land. They probably think that other card is a land, because who in their right mind would keep a 2 mana opening hand in Izzet colors? This guy right here. Okay, there we go. Whew. This isn't even gonna hit the board, is it? We have another one for next turn, so it might just be a Wandering Emperor. That might be a Wandering Emperor. At least Galazeth could come down next turn, but then if they keep this mana open, we don't play it. Or we don't swing in with the haste, I should say. Yeah, we still play it, don't get me wrong. Because that treasure is going to come in handy too. Especially if we get another land. Yeah, with this build, I was really hoping that the 24 land would be enough. Now, it is like a mid-range build, so you might want to immediately just put 25. I have made the mistake in the past of thinking to myself, well, with the little bit of ramp, we'll be okay. But you never know, because missing land is pretty bad. Play this out on red safely. Opponent is holding this open right now. What you got for me, opponent? Hey, they have Ancient Silver Dragon. Sweet. So we could untap here, but we don't have to. That's it. If we want to play around like a Jwari Disruption, we could untap. So let's go for the Scry. Goldspan's worth it. Goldspan's worth keeping on top. Galazeth, man, I wish you could swing in, but that is like... That is a Wandering Emperor if I've ever seen one. Oh, Fateful Absence. That also works, unfortunately. But now Goldspan can come down next turn. Actually, the Swirling Sky might be better next turn because of the Ward 3. Because clearly they're removing stuff. And also, wow, they ran out of cards really fast. Didn't they? Like they're just out of cards, guys. Enters the battlefield. It connives. Whenever you discard one or more cards, seek a card. Oh, they got their Rafine. Okay. Goldspan could still be good here. I don't mind starting to just get damage through, though. I also don't mind the Molten Impact, even though we have two over there. Like, we could easily go Orb and then Molten Impact and pay that one. But they know that. That's weird, right? That last card must be some kind of protection for it, maybe. Because they knew that we had these. Well, it's too late now. We're only going to have 4 mana open, and so we're going to attempt the other Molten Impact. Because I don't want to reveal the dragons. We'll have 2 mana open for the clue if we really wanted to. No, we gotta pay. We gotta pay the 1 ward cost. Hold on now. What was the first one there? We want to resolve... Wait. We want to resolve the second one. We don't want to resolve the first one. We want this one. Yes. So decline the first one, which is really funny. And then resolve. I wonder what's in the opponent's hand. It's held up for something here. I have no idea. I have no clue. Rocking a timeout. Because now we pay this one, and the Scheming Seer should die. That last card could be anything. I have no idea. There we go. What were they holding open over there? What could it be? Maybe it was like a... That would be funny if it was like a Jwari Disruption or something. Mind Spike. That is a Dragon's Fire. That is gone. Yep, now we can start slamming through massive amounts of damage. So, 1, 2, 3... Goldspan would be wiser, but... yeah. Goldspan's wiser because then we can just play the Swirling Sky out this turn too. But then we might run into some form of board wipe, which could be really bad. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, the thought behind this was less damage, but 2 creatures this turn. Fragment Reality. Well, that sucks. That just doesn't hit anything because Galazeth is already out. That really sucks. What a draw from the opponent, guys. Nice, that was a good card to draw off the clue. If Fragment Reality is just over here, then that's really something to think about. Keep the Dragonfire open. Gonna start doing a lot of damage, opponent. A lot of damage every turn. That's a land. That's not good. Not good, buddy. Check out my Desert Doom. Look at all that ward. Well, now it lost the ward, but still. Deals combat damage. Nice. Okay. Pretty good. Pretty good. We'll keep all of that in hand. So, if you have fewer than 3 cards, you draw cards equal to the difference. So that is just so good. All right. Yeah. GG. GG, opponent. Dragon's doing something in the first game, but I was struggling for land, so something to think about for sure. We'll probably end up bringing it up in the final thoughts as well. Okay. Imagine if we just had a couple more turns where we didn't see the land. That would have been really bad. So seeing 3 land in the opening hand is probably going to be pretty important. So going up to 25 land is probably a good idea. Nice, good hand. Especially since our ramp is a 3-drop, our 4-drop, and a 5-drop. That's like the bulk of our ramp. Then again, you'd think that would be enough. I don't know. You guys let me know. You guys have told me before, though, a few of you, in a mid-range build, that 24 doesn't seem like enough right now. And you're probably right. So we can safely play that on red. We have nothing open this turn because Molten Impact is in fact a sorcery. They buff up the Bard class. Okay. Okay, nothing to play this time round. Breath Weapon is an instant speed, but I'd rather just get the gate down. Because next turn, we could Galvanic Iteration a couple Molten Impacts. Because we know that they're going to start slamming creatures onto the board. Actually, seeing a burn down the house could be huge for us. Yeah, Kalane. Nice. Speaking of huge, it's probably a really good thing that the opponent went first. Or a really good thing for them, I should say. Oh, a 4/5 Hallandal. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh no. How do we get around that? That's crazy. Wow, okay. Bard class over here. The opponent actually drew their Bard class, so that's really good for them too. I know my first Bard class video, I remember, or maybe it was my second one, honestly. But essentially, excuse me, guys. Essentially what ended up happening was we didn't see Bard class a single time, and I had to make the title like, who needs Bard class? Because we didn't draw it at all. So Galvanic Iteration with Breath Weapon doesn't even hit these. Galvanic Iteration and Molten Impact does hit 2 of them, not this one though. So we got to do this, guys. We're kind of forced to do this. Oops, I did it in the wrong order. Oh no! Oh no, guys, I did it in the wrong order. Oops. Oh no. Oh, that's such an easy thing to do too. Yeah, so we wanted to target Hallandal first, and then it copies, and then the copy triggers first, so then the one would have been open to take out the Hallandal. I don't think we were coming out of that one either way. Like, the opponent really really popped off with those two cards. Actually, Kalane into Hallandale. Now, that is such a cool concept already because of dropping, like, because it gets the counter from the Kalane, and then it gets the counter from the Bard class, and then it can immediately plug that right back into the Kalane, but they ended up having the Kodama there to plug the counters into anyways, so, like, it ended up being an 8/8 Kodama, which obviously, Kodama gives modified creatures trample then. Like, that is really cool. And now we have a worse hand. But we do go first, and we have a Molten Impact. So I don't mind this at all. We'll start with Crucible because we don't know if we're playing that pathway out on blue or red yet until we draw. So I have removal in the Sword Coast Serpent too. Tenacious Pup is not a card we want to hit with the Serpent. Okie dokies. A Temple of the Dragon Queen. And play this out on blue, and I guess we'll Molten Impact. Have 2 remaining. But we probably save the the capsizing wave. Oh, nice. Nice. Well, we might as well just have this come out tapped then. We can safely play it on red decline. Red. That's fine. So whatever they play here, I hope they end up playing 2 creatures because we can bounce the one that gets... Yeah, that's probably worth bouncing. We probably don't care about the Molten Impact. Is it worth bouncing? Like, it has Vigilance and Trample too. Yeah, probably. It sucks that the Molten Impact doesn't end up hitting another creature, but we're going to go right into Galazeth because not only does it block well into the Reckless Stormseeker, but, like, the treasure could help us a lot too. Get one step closer to the Sword Coast Serpent. See? Great blocker here. Perfect. And then we can play this out on red, which is fine. We can actually... 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Actually. Big score. Now. Yeah. Goldspan. And now we play the aggressor here. And we'll keep big score open. 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, we'll keep big score open. Even though I don't really want to discard the Carnelian Orb, I think it's going to be worthwhile. Hallandale. Okay, that's going to be a card we see, huh? Very nice. Give it haste to itself too. And then +3 onto the Reckless Stormseeker. We have to outpace this. So we will search for removal. I guess we should have searched for removal before the counters hit on here. Yeah. Yeah, we did want to search for that. Yeah, more land though. Okay, we can do this. We could do... Oh, nice. Okay. That's very nice. We could actually play this out, but now it doesn't get the haste. We'll play that too. And get that down tapped. 7 in the air. We have 1 blocker then. If we play this. Oh no, we still have enough. Yeah, we just have enough for everything. We'll be able to go right into casting this down as a blocker, but then we have the Sword Coast Serpent open with Galazeth's... Sorry, the Capsizing Wave open with the Galazeth ability. So let's go ahead, end the turn, and put a stop at the opponent's first main phase, so it doesn't go into combat. Powering up Den wouldn't be the greatest, because we do have the Sword Coast. Okay. For Hilda. And I think I'd rather... Okay, another Reckless Stormseeker. We'll resolve it. And then I suppose we'll bounce the Reckless Stormseeker that has the counters already. Even though Hallandale would be a good bounce too. The big thing here is we have flyers in the air that they have to kill. And so Like, as long as we don't take 12 here, we're probably okay. Also, if we draw any card that is a non-creature spell, then this can't be blocked either. Hey, GG, let's go, guys, let's go. I can't believe that last match, I did that out of order. It's like I said, though, I'm pretty sure in that last game, we weren't going to get out of that match alive anyways, so it's a funny misplay. You got to be really careful with the order of things in decks like this, and like I noticed with control builds too, you got to be careful about the order that things are happening, and sometimes, especially if you don't have practice with it, like obviously I didn't have practice with the Galvanic Iteration there, so okay, it's not a bad hand. We can start with the Stormcarved Coast, fine. And, okay, not bad, not bad. We can go into red safely. I like that we're going first here. I hope this hits. A Jwari would be pretty devastating. But I'm also not playing around it because we might not draw a land next turn. Like, if we just held this back... Oh, that's bad. That's bad. All right. They're gonna pass. Yep. Okay, we did end up drawing that land, though. All right, I'm gonna try the Galazeth. It's so risky knowing what... Like, we know how the opponent's gonna play this game. But, like, okay, it hit. Let's go. The treasure and now the Goldspan could be really good here. There's just so many great dragons to play in an Is It build like this. Like, these blue dragons are insane. Galazeth? What are you doing over there? What are you doing, Galazeth? That's funny. I have no idea what the opponent's playing. Could bounce that back to hand, but I don't want them to have a Goldspan, so... Yeah, look at my Goldspan. Look at it. Boop. And full swing. Easy block. I guess just Goldspan. That way we can keep a blocker back ourselves. That's pretty funny because Breath Weapon isn't going to do anything if they just copy all of our dragons. It's actually awesome. Great discard target for our big score then. They end up taking the 4. And now the Sword Coast Serpent can bounce this if we want. We just don't want them to get a Goldspan. We'll see. We'll see, because I still have no idea what the opponent's playing. Also, this is probably going to be a really good card. We got to get this onto the board, like, actually resolved, you know? Okay, Invoke Despair. Okay. So, I guess Galazeth is fine. I guess. I don't know, man. Tough decisions. They end up swinging. Yeah. Is this not supposed to have a shield counter on it? Enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it enters with a shield counter on it. If you control that creature, I see. That's my bad. So let's go ahead and get the Swirling Sky down while they don't have a counter spell open. And we can safely swing. 5 mana open, big score open, Sword Coast or Capsizing Wave open. Do we do it? Do we do the big score on our turn? 1, 2. Yeah. Yeah, we do it on our turn because there's no counter spells right now. Breath Weapon doesn't look the greatest here. Molten Impact. sure. Another big score, though. Yeah, I'll do the Molten Impact, since it's sorcery speed. I think the sound went out again. That's a shame. They need to fix that. Not the sound for everything, so it's not too bad, but it's still really weird. And it's mostly happening in Alchemy. Destroy all creatures! Which one do we want to return to our hand? I guess the Goldspan. Because that has haste and helps us ramp. And then also, we can go ahead and grab some instant and sorcery cards back to our hand. So I guess Dragon's Fire is fine, and big score. That's fine. Pretty good. And we drew another Dragon's Fire too. Oh my. Yeah, at this point, what we really want to see is just more dragons now. We have too much removal, and it doesn't look like the opponent cares much about their own creatures, because it looks like their plan is to copy the opponent's creatures potentially, and then just keep destroying the board over and over again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, 7 if Goldspan survives. And so if Goldspan survives, then we can play the Sword Coast Serpent, but now we have to be prepared for more board wipes too. And looks like we milled the other Kairi. Professor Onyx. That's so bad. Yeah, that's rough. It's worth killing. We might as well choose target dragon, because why not, right? Worth killing. Just get it out of here. We knew that they were gonna -3 for the removal for sure. Big score is probably what we do first, and then we can discard the other big score. Carnelian Orb is not one that we want to get rid of. If they have more planeswalkers, the Dragon's Fire is going to be really good. But the big score can help us search even further, if need be. Ooh, okay. We can play... Yeah, we'll just play the Mountain. I'm tempted to get the Carnelian Orb down, because haste on the Sword Coast Serpent or any dragon we draw could be really good. I like that more than just doing the big score again. Even though we would have gotten 2 more treasures there, we wouldn't have been able to get the orb down this turn. Tough uphill battle here, guys. Now what's this? Exile target card other than a basic land card from your opponent's graveyard. Search that player's graveyard hand library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles, okay. For as long as you control Kotose, you may play, discard a card. Alright, we'll discard this, and do we just... So they're stealing our deck is what they're doing, which is very scary. We're gonna decline, because we need the big score in hand if we draw another land. Yep. So we could just give this haste too and hope it survives. But they could just block it. Alright, we're doing it. We're doing it, guys. There's a lot of issues with this, because they could easily start slamming our dragons onto the board. Nice, okay, so at least they can't play the Swirling Sky. And we're gonna keep this land, because the opponent's deck is scary. What on earth is happening? They're stealing our deck, and like I'm just waiting for them to drop some dragons on the board. All we need to see though is a dragon off the top. Any dragon will do. Any dragon will do. Especially if we can play big score on the same turn. Exile my graveyard, you monster. Okay, they're keeping stuff open. Galvanic Iteration. Sure. Sure, since we have to see some cards here, we might not be able to play this. At least Sword Coast Serpent won't be able to be blocked this turn, though, so... Okay, they go for the negate. That is going to happen, unfortunately. Do we still want to do this before combat? Yes, I believe so. You, and you. Discard a card. Couple treasure tokens. Because at this point... Yeah, I think we still want to do that before combat. Hopefully we didn't want to hold that open for their turn, though. Goldspan. Goldspan. Where were you? A second ago, Goldspan. We have 4 mana open. Oh, I think our Galazeth is gone anyway. Yeah, our Galazeth has been gone. So even with our 4 mana. Alright, here we go. Swinging in, does it make it? It can't be blocked, so... Okay, that makes it. See, like, no sound from the attack there. It's strange, to say the least. Goldspan could get us there next turn. Path of Peril. Alright, you better have some kind of spot removal in your hand, opponent, because Goldspan is dropping. Goldspan is coming down. Here we go. Here we go. There it is. Let's go, guys. All right, 4 matches, 75% win rate. Take it with a grain of salt. We're over here in normal play mode, so I don't know what Alchemy ranked looks like at all, but that was a lot of fun, wasn't it, guys? I was thinking about one more game, but I'm almost 40 minutes in already, and the matches have taken a little bit of extra time, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of extra time today, but here's the deck list once again. Don't sleep on Sword Coast Serpent. It's pretty budget friendly too, it being an uncommon, so I really like this card a lot, especially in a deck that can really pump out the treasure, pump out the ramp. Speaking of pumping out the treasure and the ramp, we didn't get to see Expressive Iteration find us land for the 3rd turn, but I think if we did, like... There's 24 land, so what would I do? Maybe you could drop a Carnelian Orb and go up to 25. But I think searching for the land off the iteration for your turn 3 anyways, and keeping the ramp on the Carnelian Orb is still pretty good, especially since the haste on the orb, as you can see, helps us close out that game. We kind of control the early board state with our Dragon's Fire and Molten Impact, and then just get to that mid-game, and I'm tempted to call it, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, a mid-range deck, but it kind of does lean into that being like a control deck that just closes out the game, actually, instead of just controls the game until the opponent concedes. Breath Weapon didn't get to see any play. I don't really know what people are playing in Alchemy, and it didn't seem like they were playing anything that Breath Weapon would be good against, so more testing is required for this. You could drop one of these and go up a Burn Down the House and be pretty satisfied with that. Or drop one of these and go up an Expressive Iteration. You'd probably be pretty satisfied with that too, honestly. The Swirling Sky seemed really good. The opponents need some form of board wipe to get rid of it, and then if they do find that, you get an ability here. It just seems like a really good dragon, especially being able to call that dragon with your Dragon's Fire and hit something for 6 damage, which is actually insane. Big score is a little bit too important for decks like this. Getting treasure and then having that treasure, being able to tap for 2 mana off of a Goldspan is just ridiculously broken because you're drawing cards and now you have a ton of mana to go ahead and just play out those cards anyways. And again, you could potentially give them haste off of like the Orb of the Dragonkind. So yeah, I don't know. This was a fun one. You guys will have to let me know what you thought down in the comments, and I don't know what else I would change. You do want to consider the 25th land, though. The Hall of the Storm Giants, I wouldn't go Den of the Bugbear in here, even though Den makes a little bit more sense for this early game since we have so much red at the front end. I think Hall of the Storm Giants is just better in a deck like this that is going to go into a longer game and have a bunch of mana to actually tap down for Hall. Plus, Hall of the Storm Giants, when it actually activates into a 7/7 giant, has Ward 3 as well. And so that could be really annoying with for the opponent since we have all these potential ward creatures. So yeah, I guess how I would change this is drop 2 breath weapons because I just don't know if it's ever going to be important. I'd go up 1 expressive iteration and I'd go up 1 land. So we'd have 25 land, 4 expressive iterations, and then I don't think we'd have any issues hitting our mid game here. And again, it kind of leans towards control, especially off this front end, but you know, that's what mid range does too. So I'll let you guys decide overall. Either way, yeah, if you guys made it this far, champions, all of you, thank you so much for being here. Seriously though. And I will see you in the next video.